What we have here is a pair of Simplex Servi-Cycles. They were made, this one here was made in 1945. The Simplex Servi-Cycle factory was in New Orleans, Louisiana. I bought this one off Craigslist back in December of 2019. It was pretty complete. Of course, I didn't do a pristine restoration on it, but I left it pretty rat rod. What came with it was the wheels, the fenders, the frame, the tank, the seat, the rear wheel, the license plate, basically everything, the fuel filter, and it came with this engine. This is what kind of engine, I don't know if this is the engine that came with it originally, but this is what they came with. It's either a 125 two-stroke or a 150 two-stroke. You had the option. The engine will be another project because underneath the flywheel, all of the electronic componentry is missing, but it's not locked up, so that's a good sign. That should be pretty easy to get going, clean the carburetor. With this, I did change the engine, of course. The engine is a 212 Predator. I patinaed it up a little bit to match the bike. I added that gauge on there just for a little bit of, it's non-functioning, it's just, I put it on there. Made the fuel line. It's got the sediment bowl, filter. It's got an aftermarket carburetor kit. Made the cover out of a coffee can. The paint on this was dark blue, and then it had been painted green. You can see the original dark blue, then it was green, then it was light blue, then it was black, and the black paint I'm thinking was probably put on with a brush. I took everything off and I power washed the frame, and the power washer took off some of the black paint. The rear wheel was probably originally black, and then it's got some old thick silver paint on it, and I power washed it too, and that's how it came out. So just kind of left it that way. These were belt driven. On the original engine, the belt pulley would have come out on the right side up to a pulley up here, and then it's jack shaft over to the other side where there was another pulley that would have been right here, and that pulley all hinged on the frame, and it had a rod that came down to here. This foot lever was what they called the clutch, and by moving that with your foot, it literally pulled the pulleys tight, which pulled the belts tight, and had the centrifugal clutch type system too for adjusting speed when you throttled it. So I made the jack shaft, and I put this centrifugal clutch on there. Works fine. I made the belt, the chain tensioner. I added this belt tensioner and then the rear wheel tensioners. Works great. Handlebars were original. That was original, but of course I bought the throttle and the grips on eBay. The rack is original. The license plate holder is original, but the tail light isn't. It would have had more of a tail light right here on the fender. So that's this one. The front wheel is not original, but it came with the bike and it works well, and it's the same size. That's actually a Schwinn S2 heavy duty with heavy duty spokes, and it's got the drum brake hub Schwinn. I believe it's probably off of something like a Phantom or a Tandem or something of that nature. I got a lighting coil for the engine, and I'm just waiting for a new flywheel with the magnets on it. Then I'll be able to run the lights. This one is, move it a little closer into the light. This one is, now these didn't come with serial numbers. So it wasn't until the 50s that they did. And you can see they basically left them the same. So it's very difficult to age them unless there's somebody a little more expert than me. But this one, I'm guessing, is about a late model 40 to 41. Simplex, when they thought of an improvement, they just added it. Mid-year, didn't matter. So the little bit of improvements that they did. So this one I put a Honda 196cc motor on it, almost the same as the Predator. It's got the sediment bowl. It's got a smaller tank than the 47. The 47 has I think at least a 2.5 gallon. I think this is about a 1.5 gallon. It's got wheels that came off of Simplex Servi-Cycle that I picked up on Facebook Marketplace from a guy back east. But those wheels, I believe, are from a 50s model. It came with a headlight bucket. See, it's got a few rust holes in it. And then I put a LED light in there and a cover on it. Same with the throttle and the grips. The mirror on this one is off of an old vintage truck that I put on there. It had mirrors brazed onto it. I think those were after, though. I don't think they came with it. The seat's original. The older model, the seat hinged right here over the tank, and then the filler neck is in the middle, where a few years later, they've made it kind of on this leaf spring up to here and put the filler neck on the side. And then even later, I think they even came with a bigger tank with 2 filler necks. So those are my bikes, my projects. They're fun. I ride them around. Whoops. Let's open that garage door. Let's see what we can do about firing one of them up here. This one, I ran the choke line. Of course, choke would be pull it out originally, but on this one, up to the lever on the Predator motor, so pulling it out actually ups the throttle, and pushing it in is the choke. In, out, that's the speed. So, put the gas that came with the motor, and over here, sediment bowl, turn it on, open it up. Now that's an aftermarket sediment bowl that I picked up. They're like only 12 bucks on eBay, but it's identical, other than it's not a Tollefson. So it doesn't have that on there. So I have the original sediment bowl filter that came with it, but it leaked, and I figured I'd have for 12 bucks. Put a new one on there. And then that on. Let's give it a pull. I might have to set this down. Off of eBay. The guy I bought it from said it was a Model A mirror. I wanted $23 for that. And this one is some vintage truck mirror, which is only like $21 on eBay. So you can get some pretty neat parts. I made the header off of a handlebar, a 10-speed handlebar. Put that on there. But the other header on the 47 I bought on eBay. Kickstand, and that's what it should be like on the 41 also. On the 47 is right here. That's original. did the bypass on the governor with the 2 zip tie trick on that spring right here. It's kind of hard to see. There's a little spring, and I put a zip tie through it and put the other zip tie on it to lock it in, and it keeps the spring from stretching. So this one you can see better. I didn't do it on this one, but it would be stick a zip tie through this spring with it out, and then taking a second zip tie, putting it on the end to keep the spring from stretching, and then you clip the ends off. And that's all you got to do to get past the governor. Get a little more speed out of them. But this one I didn't do. I had it on flat ground, 42 miles an hour with the app. And this one actually I had up to 42 also with the governor, with that zip tie on the governor spring. So they're fun, they cruise. They're pretty fun. They get a lot of attention at the shows. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.